Community activists are the voices that rally communities to fight for justice in their areas. Often the bulwark against public and private interests that violate constitutional rights of their communities. They face victimization and sometimes death. As South Africa commemorates Human Rights Month, tonight on Unfiltered, we focus on the intimidation and killing of community activists in the country as we ask the question, do the lives of community activists matter? You may join this discussion on Twitter and Facebook using the handle at Unfiltered SABC. That's on Twitter, and on Facebook just search for Unfiltered SABC. Let's welcome our guest this evening. Hassan Logat is with the Benchmark Foundation. We also welcome the KwaZulu-Natal Police spokesperson, Colonel Robert, who will be joining us, as well as the spokesperson for the Amadiba Crisis Committee, Nontle Mbutuma. But first, let's take a look at this insert compiled by producer Andrew.
It's been 7 years since anti-mining activist Sikosi P. Bazuka Radebe was violently killed outside his home in Bizana. A hero to his community, Radebe was a thorn to both public and private power. Together with his Wild Coast community, he opposed the encroachment of a foreign company onto their titanium-rich Xolobeni coastal dunes. In their war of resistance, the community won some battles, but too late for Radebe, who was allegedly murdered by people posing as the police. Activists believe his outspokenness against powerful interests cost him his life. His murder hasn't been resolved. The Eastern Cape Police couldn't provide answers, saying the relevant person was out of office. Similarly, another high-profile community activist murder remains unresolved in Durban. In 2020, activist Fikile Ntshangase was gunned down by unknown men allegedly related to activities in the Mfolozi Community Environmental Justice Organization. Our sources told us that the alleged culprit is known by both the police and the prosecutor, yet he remains free. These cases represent many others of community activists across the country who are intimidated, victimized, and ostracized for fighting for justice, similar to many other parts of the continent and the world. Should the state do more to prioritize the intimidation and killing of activists? I am Andrew Mokhatle, Unfiltered, SABC 3.
Yeah, and that report compiled by producer Andrew Mokhatle. But first of all, let's start off this conversation by introducing Nontle Mbutuma, who's the spokesperson for the Amadiba Crisis Committee. Nontle, good afternoon, and thank you so much for making time for us. I want to start off this conversation considering the role that you currently play, but also asking, how do you feel currently? Do you at all fear for your life? Have you received any threats of late?
Good evening to you and also to the viewers. Yes, I received some death threats. My life is in danger as we've already experiencing some assassination, and those death threats, some are and I've already reported the SMSs, which
sorry,
is something
we lost you there. You were
I
saying some of these death threats are from?
I said that some of those death threats are coming with SMSs and some are verbal SMSs, threats.
Yeah.
What I've done, I did report, open a case about the SMSs that were directed to me.
Can you recall any of the text for you, at least, that stand out, or perhaps a call that you received? What exactly did the person say on the other end of the call?
The SMS threats that was directed to me. It was telling me that they are coming after me. Bazooka is dead. Now I'm the next. I must be ready.
And
Bazooka is already been assassinated.
Yeah. And speaking about Bazooka, do you still remember that phone call that you got from him at 6 p.m., literally an hour or so before he was gunned down, where he was actually saying to you that our lives are under threat?
Yes. The day when Bazooka was being gunned down, we were supposed to have a late strategy meeting. But it did not take place, and also because my baby son was not well. But he did accept that no, let's postpone the meeting. But he was keep saying that let's take care of ourselves because our lives are in danger. We need to make sure that we are not going out during the night. And that notice also, I did take it seriously because he was a man of jokes. But this time he was just telling us that there is a hit list as activist. Now we need to make sure that we are not just galloping outside during the night.
Okay. And from that case, Bazooka's case now, and from the cases that you have opened now personally with the police, has there been any progress at all?
Okay. If I can start from my case, the police, they did open a case. They told me that they can't investigate further because the SMS, I mean the number is a non-record. Now they cannot investigate more. They closed the case. It was closed like that. And I was not satisfied at all because if somebody is SMSing you with a cell phone number that is there, for me, I was really interested to see that the police are going to investigate more and harder to make sure that even if it's non-record, where the location, but it didn't go further, but the case was being closed. When it comes to Bazooka, also since 2016, we try by all means to make sure that the justice has been served. And it's a most difficult case that we ever had because we did manage to hire the private investigators and also to, as Amadeba Crisis Committee, together with the family of the case is not going to sleep on the floor. But it's unfortunately all the time when we try to get a report from the police, there's nothing tangible. Instead, they keep telling us that they are investigating the case. But we're just reaching a stage where we are pushing back and forward, and the police are more interested of closing the case. That there's nothing that they find from the case. But for us and the family, we are not satisfied, and that's not in. Now, if to close the case, it's a way of get away of the justice of an activist.
Okay, let me just quickly bring in Colonel Robert here. Thank you so much for making time for us, the spokesperson for the police in KZN. And Colonel, with you, we're going to focus specifically on some of the incidents that have been happening on the Wild Coast region, but more specific focusing on the assassination of Ufigile Ntshangase in October 2020, the 22nd of October. Good evening, and thank you so much for making time for us. What has happened since? Has anyone been arrested? Has anyone been convicted?
Good evening, and thank you for having us. On the specific matter that we have just spoken about, we have not made any arrest as yet. We are investigating. Just last year, December, we took the docket to the senior public prosecutor for a decision. We had a person in mind whom we wanted to arrest, but the advice from the prosecutor was that we needed to investigate further and gather more evidence before we could effect an arrest. So yes, we are investigating with a view of making an arrest and also convict the suspect.
So the current suspect that the police has in mind, that person is still in South Africa?
We are aware of the whereabouts of the suspect whom we had in mind. We will not be mentioning where the suspect, where our suspect is, for obvious reasons. But safe to say that the docket is still active and we are investigating.
Does that suspect link you to who is behind the assassination, or is this one of the gunmen that you're speaking of, considering that according to the report is that there were 3 men who stormed the house?
The case is still active and we do not want to preempt anything, because what we have now, or what we just said, is what people are saying. We would like to have facts on our side that will convict the person, not hearsays, not rumors. So, like I said before, we are investigating the matter and we are in touch with the prosecutors. We are hopeful that when we have enough evidence to pounce on the suspect, we will do so, because we do not want to rush into making an arrest but suspects are released and cases fall away.
Okay. Hassan, good evening. Thank you so much for making time for us. What do you make of the response of the police? In this case, of course, we're speaking about one case of Uma Mnchangas.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like they're rushing. I mean, he says they don't want to rush. They're going too slow. I mean, justice delayed is clearly an impact here for many mining communities. You know, what we were speaking about earlier is that they don't have to kill everybody, because then you don't have people to work and you know, you can't sell your products. These killings are targeted killings. They're political assassinations to take out influential leaders. In the case of Bazuka Hadebe, there was an attempt to make sure that the community do not resist for their plans. They want have another vision other than mining. In the case of Mnchangas, they were against the extension of a mine, right? But
a mine that's currently operating.
That's right. But last year in October, I want to quote what the newspaper said today. The newspaper said yesterday, actually, that there was one of the leaders took out an affidavit. He said that traditional leaders came to speak to them in October last year. At the meeting at Opondweni on 22 October 2022, it was reported that the traditional leadership opened the meeting with a threatening remark that translates as, if anyone speaks against the mine, his eyes will turn to blood, right? Now, this is an affidavit before the court. So it's not as if the bad sin is over. It's not as if one individual. If the community continues to resist, they will continue to terrorize people.
Okay, and we'll get the response from the police. But remember that we also love to hear from you this evening. Do you believe that the lives of community members, of community activists rather, do matter? You can tweet at Aldrin Simpier, or alternatively tweet at Unfiltered SABC, and on Facebook just search for Unfiltered SABC. And welcome back. Let's get some closing remarks from our panel this evening. Colonel, I'm going to start off with you, but I want to just quickly pick up on the matter relating to Abahlali baseMjondolo. 2024, if I'm not mistaken, members of Abahlali baseMjondolo that were killed over a couple of years. How many of those cases have been resolved?
We have resolved some of the cases on the Abahlali baseMjondolo. There was a case of Ayandangila who was killed also in the matter concerning Abahlali baseMjondolo. A suspect was arrested He's still is in custody and is going to court on the 16th of March this year. So yes, we have made some progress in some of the cases. I just don't have all of them here with me.
The case of Siyabonga Manqele?
On the matter of Sia Manqele, the matter is with IPIT because the people who are purported to be suspects were police officers or masqueraded as police officers. So IPD is handling the matter, and we are hopeful that they will crack the matter, and if it's police who are involved, steps will be taken.
All right. Hassan, just quickly, closing remarks. What do you think the solutions are?
I mean, the whistleblowers get attacked, lawyers get attacked. Diokaran was killed in front of her kids. It doesn't inspire confidence for those who want to keep the democracy alive, because you can't just have a constitution and someone speaking. You need civil society to make sure that leaders are accountable. But if the powerful kill activists or threaten them, it undermines the whole system.
Nontle, just quickly from your end, closing remarks, what do you think the solutions are? Nontle, just quickly unmute there.
The solutions for all these killings, because the killings are all over the world. All what we need is a tight security where the police are going to investigate and to make sure that the justice is being served. As long as the cases keep delaying and they have been closed, it means that there will be no justice. And we want to make sure that also the human rights are being put first before the profit.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for to my panel this evening. And as Nontle has said, that this is not something that is exclusive to South Africa. It's a global issue. 1,700 people who have been killed in the past decade, and that is according to Global Witness. Thank you so much for choosing Unfiltered with me, Aldrin St. Pierre, this evening. We're back again next week, Monday, same time, same place, right here on S3.ins.